And without further ado, I maybe want to bore you with a award-winning video.
All right.
Great. So this will maybe explain a little bit about what commercial real estate rent default insurance might be.
Yes. So let me do
default insurance might be.
Yeah. So let me try to do the Zoom thing. Share. Let me see. Done.
What happens when tenants stop making payments on their rent? Meanwhile, property owners are incurring loss of rental income and legal expenses, all while continuing to pay their mortgage, real estate taxes, and any additional expenses in order to maintain their investment. A cash flow nightmare. Introducing CRERDI. Commercial Real Estate Rent Default Insurance is a gap insurance, a risk transfer vehicle to property owners who are heavily reliant on consistent rent payments from their tenants to maintain their investment. CRERDI is here to help commercial property owners eliminate bad debt. Get up to 6 months of rental income and $500 legal expense reimbursements.
Did you enjoy this award-winning video?
Wow.
I loved it.
I
I was gonna make a joke like I hope it's animated, and sure enough,
it was.
We haven't had anything like that on our interviews yet, so you're a first.
Right?
Hey, I'm trying to do my best over here, you know.
Very good, very good. So okay, tell us more about this. Tell us maybe hit the little highlights of what specifically it is. Obviously, your video did hit some points there, but let's hear it from you now.
So I'll make some few notes really quick. So for the purpose of discussion over here, I will try to be as easygoing with no insurance terms, so that we can have a discussion about that. Currently, CRERDI is under moratorium due to the COVID-19. So we're hoping that moratorium to be lifted soon. And one of the reasons is because of the pause that there exists in the judicial system that we have today. One of the trigger for CRERDI is eviction. And because you cannot process unlawful detainers nowadays, well, you can e-file them, but you cannot process them. It's one of the reasons. CRERDI rent default always been an issue for any property owner. It didn't start today, yesterday, or the year before. People buy real estate; it's their livelihoods. It's painful when the tenants do not pay rent, and that's the least one can say. Guess what happens if he stays more than just the eviction process, going into bankruptcy and so forth. There are a lot of people who rely on that revenue stream, and that's where CRERDI comes into play. It's a gap insurance. And I'm using the word gap insurance very loosely. In traditional insurance policies in the property and casualty niche, most of the commercial general liability do not. Actually, I think that all of them do not cover rent defaults as the tenants stop paying rent. They will cover for some loss of income, extra expense. There's a fire, there's an earthquake, there's the disruption in operation. That's where those policies comes into play. There is no coverage for that specific rent defaults where tenants do not pay the rent. CRERDI also have a very interesting thing that it's an endorsement. The endorsement that CRERDI have beside the rent default is leasehold improvement reimbursement. So let's say that there's going to be a restaurant owner who goes to rent a nice place, and the property owner goes and just do a build-up for him. It can be $500,000, can be $1 million. Kitchen can tend to be very expensive nowadays. What happens if that tenant stop paying rent, and then as a result, the property owner evict the tenant? All that huge amount of money goes into waste. And one restaurant doesn't fit at all. So if the next tenant comes back if the place is being re-rented, then that improvement may not fit that specific tenant, and then we go all over again. So that's another. What?
So does obviously it sounds like it covers the rent that you're missing, but will it also cover tenant improvements or TIs?
Yes, so TI, leasehold improvements, are covered as an endorsement. So you can buy it, but it's an endorsement. By virtue, the main gist of the coverage is the rent default. And I'll go into specific exactly on the the nuances about what's the coverage is. But most important things, we need to understand first that this coverage was not coverage for imminent loss. So if there is already smoke in the house, you cannot go run and buy fire insurance.
Right.
So if the tenants did not pay the rent and the tenant is in arrears, you cannot just say, okay, wow, I need to cover myself. And then you bind a coverage.